All right. And then you can click the New button at the top left. This is where you're going to enter in all the information for your new location. So I'm going to create a yard called Webinar Yard 1. Okay, it's not a well, it's a yard. So I've entered in the name, I've entered in the type of location, and the operator is who's going to be managing the yard. In most cases, that's going to be your company, but if you have like a vendor yard or something like that, you can populate their name in here. So that's going to be us. The status of this yard is going to be active, and the parent field right here is used for example, if you have several yards in a region, you can assign this yard a region here in the parent field. All right, and then I'm going to click Save. Then I'm going to go to the Shipping tab. It's really important that you enter in as much information here as possible. This is what auto-populates on your shipping and receiving trucks and your bill of ladings for this location as well. All right, so I'm going to enter in some data here. Okay. And again, if you guys have any questions, please type them into the chat and I'll answer them. Okay. And the shipping directions, again, if you have any special directions that they need to follow, if your yard's a little bit hard to find, you can type them in here. These will also appear on your bill of ladings. Okay, let's save that. All right, now we have a yard. We're going to set up some racks in this yard. To do so, you're going to go to the Child Locations Racks and Bins tab in the New Location screen. Here you can quickly add multiple racks just by typing in the name of the rack and clicking Enter. So I'm just going to create a few. And on the right-hand side over here, you'll see you have the two columns, Yard View Top Position and Yard View Left Position. This is these are the grid coordinates in the Yard View of where these racks are going to appear. And you'll see how that works here in a little bit when we go check out the yard. So for now, I'm just going to give these 100, 200, 200, 200. And then the left position we'll do increasing by 100. And you'll see how this works. Creating racks this way is a lot faster than doing it in Yard View. Yard View makes it easier, but it takes a little bit more time if you're doing a large number of racks. So I like this one for making a lot of racks very, very quickly, or for the first time you're setting up a yard. All right, and then we're going to click Save. All right, so now we have our webinar yard with its shipping information and its racks. I'm going to close that out, and I'm going to go to my settings first. I'm going to make that my default yard so I don't have to search for it whenever I'm in Yard View. So just click on the settings button, and under the default location, select whatever yard you want to select whatever yard you work in the most. If you only have one yard, then make that one your default one. If you have multiple ones but you work in one primarily, then make that one your default yard. It's going to save you a couple seconds every time you go into Yard View. So now what we want to do is go into Yard View. You can do that by clicking the button from the home screen. As you can see, it's already got Webinar Yard 1 that we just created and all those racks that I had entered into the location manager. All right. Any questions so far? Okay. All right. So from here, we can also create racks here in the Yard View. You can do this by right-clicking in a blank space and clicking New Rack. This brings up the New Rack dialog. You can enter the name. In this case, we're going to make this one Cleaning, and click OK. As you can see, it placed it right where I had it. Okay. All right. Okay, so now we create a new rack there from this screen. Now I'm going to show you how to arrange them from the yard view screen. Remember when we were entering the coordinate system, that's how it placed these when we came to yard view. You can also do so by clicking the Arrange button here at the top right of the yard view screen. All right, that's going to bring up this one. Now we see a grid system here, right? We have all our racks already created. First thing you're going to want to do is click on the Orient Mouse button and click OK on the dialog that pops up. And what you want to do is place the very tip of your mouse in the center of that star. This tells the system exactly where you're pointing, and it makes it easier to drag these icons around. Having done so, now I can drag these around to position them wherever I want in the yard. Okay, so I want cleaning down here. Whenever you're done arranging your racks, click the Save Rack Position. This saves any changes that you may have made. You can also create a new rack by clicking the New Rack button at the top. So let's name this one EMI. Click OK. So you can see it created a new rack for us. We're going to put this one out here. And we're going to save the rack position. Now, if you happen to move a rack by mistake or somewhere you didn't want to, before you click Save Rack Position, you can click the Refresh button, and it'll put it right back to where it was. So essentially the last time you click the Save Rack Position. This is useful if you're working in a big yard and you make a mistake and don't want to have to do it over again. You can also create a backup of your yard. Clicking this Backup Yard button creates a copy of it for you, so you don't have to worry about losing your rack positioning. If you click on the Show Grid button, you can show or hide. Some people just have a preference for that. It's pretty self-explanatory. You can also open the yard properties. Remember when we created the yard in the Location Manager, if we click on that button, it's going to bring up the same information. So here we have the yard name, type, status. We have the shipping information and the child locations. Again, you can add racks here. And we can save that. And once we close this out, we can refresh, and here we have our two new racks. So we're going to put these over here. And again, once we're done arranging them, we're going to click on the Save Rack Position. All right. The Auto Arrange button. We highly discourage you from using this. It will essentially line up all your racks at the top of the screen. I'll show you. It's gonna ask you to type it in, so it's making sure that you're not doing this by accident, since it ends up being irreversible. And like I said, it's not really recommended. As you can see, it's arranged them alphabetically. If you do that, you can also click refresh and it'll undo it. But once you save rack position, it's unrecoverable unless you have the backup. So I mean, I would stay away from that, but it's there should you want it. And if you don't really care how your racks are arranged, I guess you can use that. Okay. So once we've saved it to where we want it to be, now we need to go back to yard view. So right now we're in arrange mode, right? This is not where you're going to manage your inventory. To do that, you need to save it and then close it out. And then go back into yard view. So here we have all the changes that we made. And the yard is arranged how we did it in the arrange mode. Any questions? All right, so now we're going to get into the inventory management aspect of yard view. Essentially, you can do shipping, receiving, and transferring all from within the yard view with click and drag functionality. So let's go ahead and receive some inventory. So we're going to receive some inventory to rack B2. The way we're going to do that is we're going to hover over rack B2, right-click on it, and select ship. Select receive. All right. We can see that's already got the ship to information populated for us for this yard. So we're just going to pick where it's coming from. And we're going to add an item. All right, we're going to add new inventory from a master part. In this case, we're going to do some 2 3/8 EUE J55. And we're going to add in 100 joints. And here's where this is going to save you time. It's already going to rack B2, right? You just have to enter in how much you're shipping it, how much you're receiving. Click OK. And it's going to place it on this truck. And as soon as we complete it, it'll show up on the rack. So there it is. It's created a job for us. It's put it on rack B2. All we need to do is click complete. That's really going to save you a lot of time. Instead of having to go to the receive button, finding the location, entering in all that information, you can just right-click, hit refresh, and now we can see that B2 no longer has the empty symbol. It has that job, 5034, that we created, that we received. So anywhere you click on a rack, at the bottom, it's going to show you all the jobs that you have on that rack. In this case, it's only one. So we're going to receive another bit of inventory to rack A3. All right. Just going to run through this right quick. Add item. And we're going to select 2 3/8, but N80 this time. And again, another 100 joints. And again, it already has the rack populated for you. You just have to add the item and click complete. A lot faster, a lot simpler, a lot easier. And there it is. All right. So, as well as receiving from specific racks in a yard, receiving to specific racks in a yard, you can also ship. So let's say we want to ship part of this 2 3/8 J55. Right-click on it and hit ship. And it's going to ask you how you want to transfer that. Right? You can either transfer the whole job or just some of it. In this case, we're going to move it by bulk, and we're going to transfer 50 joints. Now, much like with the received, whenever you receive from the right click, it's going to have all your information pre-populated. It's going to load the job. It's going to create a job for those 50 joints, load it on the truck. All you have to do is select the destination and click complete. It's that simple. And then we go back to B2, and we can see that it's now the 50 joints, right? So we shipped off 50 from B2. That easy. All right. So we've shipped, we've received. Now let's talk about moving inventory from rack to rack. As I mentioned earlier, this can all be done with the click and drag functionality. So let's say I want to move part of this 2 3/8 N80 to rack B3. All I'm going to do is hover over A3, click and drag to B3, and select Move by Bulk. Then I'm going to enter in 45 joints. Let's say that's what we're moving. And there we go. The 45 joints are now on rack B3. I'm going to move some of the J55 over to B3 as well. And we're going to move only 10 joints this time. And we're going to move it to a new job. We don't want to merge the part numbers. All right, and we can see it has both those jobs on it now. So a lot of times you're going to have multiple jobs on one rack, and that's fine. You can still ship and receive, right? So whenever you click ship, it's going to ask you what you want to move. So in this case, I'm going to move the J55. We're going to send out all 10 joints. And again, it already loads it on the truck. It already populates your ship from information. All you have to do is select a destination and click complete. And there, it's gone. All right, any questions on shipping and receiving by right-clicking on a rack and clicking and dragging? If not, we're going to move on to setting up behaviors for your rack so that it performs certain actions on enemy inventory moved to a rack. All right, looks like we're good to go. All right, so let's set up some behaviors for a rack. So I want my cleaning rack to change the status of any inventory moved to that rack to cleaning. The way I can do this is by going to Arrange. Basically, anytime you want to change how your yard is set up, Arrange is where you go to, right in the top right corner. You just click Arrange. And we're going to open Yard Properties and go to our child locations. Here we have a list of all the racks already and their positions over here on the right. So we're going to select Cleaning and double-click on it. It's going to open up the location manager for the cleaning rack. You can see the name is Cleaning, the type is Rack, the parent is Webinar Yard 1. And then we're going to go over to Behaviors. So like I said, behaviors perform automated actions on the job when the job is moved to this location. So we're going to select from the drop-down, we're going to select Perform Checkpoint. And over here in the Set Value, we're going to type in Cleaning. And then we're going to save. Okay. I'm going to save that as well. And save rack positions. So let's go take a look at what that checkpoint does. All right, so let's take the inventory that we have on B3. We can see that job 5037 has a status of received. Let's say we're sending this off to get clean. We can just simply click and drag over to cleaning. And we're only going to transfer 15 joints. Now we can see that the status has been set to cleaning. Right? So you don't have to manually checkpoint all these for performing work on them. Likewise, you can set behaviors to change part numbers or color bands. So let's do a color band color change right now. Let's go ahead and look at our white rack. We're going to open up the Yard Properties in the Arrange screen and go to Child Locations. Let's look at white. And in the Behavior drop-down, select Change Color. We're going to set that to white. Save that. And we're going to set yellow. Again, select the behavior, change color, and set it to yellow. It's going to change the color band, the color band of any inventory or of any pipe moved to these racks, and that's going to reflect in the icon of the rack. So you're going to be able to just look at the yard and see where your white pipe is and where your yellow pipe is. So let's save that. And let's create a rack called junk. And we're going to put that at 300, 300. And this we're going to put all our junk pipe. We're going to save and open that up. So for the behavior on this one, we're going to have it change the part number. We'll look at that a little bit later. All right. All right. Okay, so let's go change the color of some of our jumps. We're going to save the rack position and close that out. And then go to yard view. All right. So let's move some of our pipe from A3 to the EMI inspection. And once inspection is done, we can go ahead and assign it a color. Let's say 10 of these joints are white, and the rest of them are going to go yellow. You can see the icon now represents the color of the inventory, the band color of the inventory on that rack. And once that's done, we can go ahead and move them to our storage racks. And there you go. That's your work in progress process, right? So these are your virtual color banding racks. So now let's create a new rack. Again, you do this by right-clicking in the blank space in Yard View and click New Rack. This is where we're going to make our junk rack. And here you can set the behaviors on the fly without having to go to Location Manager. So it's really handy. Just right-click. We're going to change the part number, and we're going to assign it to junk 2 3/8. So anything moved into this rack is going to be assigned a new part number, right? So it's going to take it out of that old master part and into the junk part. So it makes it really easy to track your inventory that way. So let's transfer 30 joints we have on B3 to junk. And that was 2 3/8 and 80. And now on the junk rack, we can see that's been changed to junk 2 3/8. All right, so pretty simple. Any questions, you guys? All right. So let's look at one more thing. Let's look at creating subyards. You can do that much the same way that you create a rack. Right-click and select the new rack, and we're gonna name this Webinar Back 40. Okay. Now that we have that, we're going to go into our yard properties. We're going to open up Webinar Back 40, and we're going to change the type from rack to yard, and we're going to save that. We're going to save our webinar yard, we're going to save our rack positioning, and we're going to go back into Yard View. Now what that's going to do is, instead of behaving like a rack, this is now a subyard. Clicking on it will open it up in Yard View. It's going to open up a separate Yard View, right? And you can have your own racks in here. So it makes it, a little bit less of a hassle to open up all your subyards and really see what you have in each one. Oh, okay. Yeah, absolutely. You can have it change color and master part. So let's use the junk one. Let's go to our range. We're going to hit the yard properties. Going to go to the child locations, and we're going to open up the junk rack. I forgot to mention, good call, that you can set up multiple behaviors. So this is already changing the part number. We can also change the color. Let's change this to red. You can change the owner as well. If you have a rack specific to your customers, you can perform a checkpoint as well. What's a good checkpoint for this? There we go. All right, and we're just going to save that. So now it's going to perform all these three to any job moved to that rack, right? So it's going to change the part number to junk 2 3/8. It's going to change the color to red, and it's going to perform checkpoint junk. And you can add as many as you want, obviously. So save that, close that. If not, that's all I got for you. I'll put the recording up on the YouTube and send everyone a link in case they need to rewatch. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to email us at support@archondata.com. You can also get on our support site at support.archondata.com and click on the Live Help Now. There's always someone on. We'll be happy to answer your questions there.